Hello, this is Gretchen the Verdant Crafter. Today I'm going to be showing you 10 of the 25 cards I made using the Simon Says Stamp Special Edition Halloween card kit for 2018. This card kit was called Frightful Fun, and it was a frightful fun to use. It was also a frightful fun to receive since I didn't actually order it. It simply appeared on my doorstep. And there is a message that I'm showing you there. This message says, Happy Halloween. We have a special treat for you. Thank you for your business. Please enjoy this gift from us to use. Sincerely, your friends at Simon Says Stamp. So I received this kit completely out of the blue. I did not order it, and I am 99% sure that Simon Says Stamp doesn't know that I am the Gretchen that has been ordering and making these videos. So while I received this, I received it with no expectation of anything, and I'm pretty sure they don't know who I am, other than that I order things from them occasionally. So it's not sponsored, but it's sort of sponsored, and if you don't like anything, it's totally on me, not on them. Okay, this card kit came with 5 pieces of cardstock. There is a piece of, all are from Simon Says Stamp. There's black, orange peel, green apple, royal purple, and ivory. There's also Spooky Boo 6x6 paper from Pebbles. There is this gorgeous 6x8 stamp set that I think would be great for creating scenes with. There's the ghost die that is just adorable. There are these puffy stickers from Pebbles as well as Ephemera. They all match the paper pack Spooky Boo. There's this American Craft Halloween gift bag set. There are those spiders, this polyester cobweb, an ink pad of Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink, Nuvo's Ivory Sands Pure Sheen Glitter, Glossy Accents, Doodlebug Ghost Braddies, and there were those paper de Reese bags, as well as, of course, the lollipop. So this video is very long, and I do apologize. I show you how I made 10 of the cards and how I made several gift bags. Then I show you what's left over from using this card kit, and finally I show you close-up pictures of individual cards, then all the cards, then all the gift bags. One of the things I didn't realize with this card kit was that the American Craft gift bag kit came with some googly eyes. So I pulled some out and used them. I'm going to decide that I'm not sure how strong the adhesive is, so I'm going to peel them up, add some adhesive, and then add those back in. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you that this stamp set is magnificent. I'm pretty sure based on the design that it's drawn by Christina Warner, but don't quote me on that. It has some great sentiments. You're awesome. It's mummy-nificent. We'll always be friends. I feel it in my bones. It's going tibia. Great Halloween. Let's get this Meowloween party started. Batty for treats. Which way to the candy? Happy Halloween. Spooky Halloween. Boo to you. Wishing you a. Have they? Did someone say candy? Full of frightful fun. And boo. So there you see that I used one of the die cuts as a template. I added glue, and now I'm adding each of the letters in that I die cut out from that paper. I die cut my die from the black paper. I put foam tape on it and backed it with white paper. Of course, I added my googly eyes, and now I'm adding my sentiment. I'm going to come in and add in some Tonic Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen after I add the mouth, because you have a ghost with eyes and he looks really cute and a little scared, but now we add in the mouth and he looks more like an actual ghost or human or something that you can relate to. You can see that I've backed this black paper onto a piece of orange cardstock that's 4 inches by 5¼ inches, and I'm going to back that onto a white A2 card base. I also added glossy accents over the letters and inside the letters, which is why those letters are darker. Card number 2 was one of the things that I automatically did or wanted to do when I saw this die. So I did it. I have cut out a piece of the paper that is black, but it's more of a gray brown black. and it has bats on it. I am using a little brush that looks sort of like the shaver brush from Nuvo. I'm also going to try using my blender, but I don't like it. I think it takes too much of this unicorn white pigment ink off. You could use any pigment ink you have. I simply only have one type of pigment ink, which is why I'm using that. I'm using that paper to put down a bunch of ghosts. Now I've added glue down, or I'm going to place one of the images down, one of the positive images, add glue where the negative image is, so where the holes are for the face. Then I'm going to add in each of the faces. I'm also going to stamp and black heat emboss Happy Halloween onto vellum, and I'm going to wrap that around this piece of paper, which is 4 inches by 5¼ inches. I'm going to put that onto an A2 card base, and I'm going to call it good. I love how simple this card is. I love how when you touch the pigment ink, which I did dry with a heat gun, it does have sort of a velvety texture, slightly different from the cardstock. And I love that when I went outside the lines, I was able to use a wet wipe to clean up my image. Okay, card number 3. Card number 3 and 4 and maybe card number 5 are very simple cards that simply utilize the ephemera that came in this kit. They're cards that I feel like jumped right out at me. I was like, oh yeah, I've got to make this card. This is naturally what it's supposed to be. So I've stamped and white heat embossed. It's going Tibia, Great Halloween, onto some of the paper that has candy, including candy corn. I did stamp and heat emboss it twice because I was crooked one time. I've glued down a piece of the orange with black dots paper onto my A2 card base. And one of the awesome things about this paper is all of those black dots in this and in the cream paper I'll use in a second are textured and have sort of a plastic coating over them. So they're shiny, they're a little glittery, and they're simply awesome. Now I'm adding foam tape to the back of this piece of paper that I cut into a banner. It has all kinds of skeletons on it, and I knew that one of the ephemera was a skeleton, and I had the paper that was a skeleton, and I had the sentiment, it's going Tibia, Great Halloween. I had to use them together. I am a science teacher. I do not teach anatomy and physiology, although I think it's an awesome thing to learn. And I certainly enjoyed learning about it when I was in college. But you know, it's science, it's awesome. I might not teach it, but I still love that particular science. So you saw that I put down a circle of the white paper. One of the things I wish I did was match up where the dots were better, because I just sort of slapped it down. Now I use the foam tape to put down my banner, and now I'm coming in with glossy accents and going over all of the dots on the cream paper. I love in the end how it adds texture to those and makes them a little bit more shiny. I'm also adding glossy accents to the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the bow tie of our little guy. This was a very simple, fast card, and it was a great way to get started using the ephemera. Okay. And now we're going to move on to card number 4. Card number 4 also used ephemera, and it used this adorable pumpkin paper. So I have a piece of the ivory cardstock that I'm putting down onto my A2 card base, and I'm going to glue this, well, actually, I'm going to glue these pieces of paper to my pumpkin cardstock. So my pumpkin paper is cut to be 4 inches by 5¼ inches, and these pieces of paper are cut to be approximately 3/4 of an inch. They're sort of a black-gray paper that happens to have cobwebs on it. I've staggered them and glued them down. Then I'm going to use scissors to trim off the excess. My ephemera, I have 2 pieces of ephemera for this. One happens to be trick-or-treaters. I've got Frankenstein's monster, I've got a cat girl, and I have a ghost. I also have another ephemera that happens to be a banner that says Happy Halloween. I use foam tape to pop both of those up, and I'm going to come in with my aqua shimmer pen and add shimmer over my pumpkin candy bags, and Frankenstein monster's hair, and the cat girl's mask. With this card, with this card kit, I use glossy accent very liberally, mostly because it came in the card kit and it was on my desk right in front of me, but also because, who doesn't love some gloss and glitter when you're dealing with Halloween? Whenever I use a shimmer pen, I do, not usually, but I do love to put some glossy accents on it to trap that glitter, keep it from going anywhere else, and to really help it shine even more. I think one of the great things about putting aqua shimmer pen down and then putting glossy accents is it really seems to pick up the glitter and make the whole thing sparkle rather than having a lot of glitter in just one spot. Okay, moving on to card number 5. Card number 5, I really wanted to use the purple cardstock that came in this kit, so I'm very deliberately backing all of my pieces with it. You saw that I had a little orange rectangle that says Batty for Treats. I stamped in black heat embossed Batty for Treats, and I also stamped in black heat embossed a couple of the different candy images that came in the stamp set. Everything has about a 1/4 to an 1/8 of an inch purple border around it. This black bat paper happens to have sort of the same thing that the dots have. They have a plastic glittery coating over the bats and some of the stars, so they have this great texture and shine. This piece of paper is being cut down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I will end up backing it onto a piece of the purple cardstock, which will then go onto my A2 card base. I'm going to glue down this stripe of paper and cut off the excess. Then I'm going to glue down my rectangle of the cream paper with the black dots. I am going to use foam tape to pop up my ephemera piece. In this case, because I was using the bats and I'm using Batty for Treats, I used my adorable little vampire person. He's so cute. He has this little smile and he looks so pleased with himself. He looks a lot like my cat when my cat kills a mouse. I mean, I know that it is absolutely natural for cats to kill mice, but I really wish that, he would wait to kill the mice when someone else was around to pick up the dead carcass. I also wish he wouldn't tear it limb from limb. He has this bad habit of tearing the arms off and leaving them in different rooms, which is very annoying. Okay, I have pulled out the puffy stickers and I'm adding some bats around our little batty trick-or-treater. I'm also going to use glossy accents on all of those little dots. I just love the texture. It's a great texture. I also added over each of the little candy pieces that I've stamped, so they're a little bit more realistic. Do you like making Halloween cards? I love making Halloween cards. In fact, Halloween cards or stamps are the first stamps that I purchased when I started making cards. And I think it's just a blast. You can make something that's fun, that's either, adorable, or it's creepy, or it's a mixture of both. They're a little kitschy and they're just so fun. You can see that I put down my purple piece of paper. Now I've trimmed off the excess and I'm adding in that panel that I created. Then we're going to move on to card number 6. Card number 6 is an interesting card, if it's the one I think it is. Nope. Card number 6 is the card that I literally cannot find, but I love this card. So I have a piece of the orange paper that happens to have cobwebs on it. I've cut it to be 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I glued it onto a piece of 110 cardstock and cut it out. I've added tape runner around the edges of this paper, and if I were to do it again, I would add score tape, because score tape is a little bit stronger. Actually, it's a lot stronger. Now I'm taking tiny strands of the polyester cobweb and I'm stretching it around this paper. I'm using very thin strands so it looks a bit more realistic. It's not too bulky and it's easy to control. I am going to, whenever possible, cut off the excess so there's nothing extra on the back. And this card was super simple. If you had used I think you could make dozens of these cards very simply. The longest part or hardest part was making sure that the polyester cobwebs stayed put because they are sort of staticky and they do want to catch on your fingers or clothes and, sort of run away. And coloring and cutting out the image. There you can see I used tons of score tape on the back of that. I have stamped and heat embossed my sentiment with black embossing powder. It says, "Have a happy Halloween full of frightful fun." That vellum is going to be folded around this piece of paper. I'm going to put it onto a black card base. And in this case, it's an actual black card base. I pulled out extra black paper to make extra card bases and extra panels. And then I'm going to glue on the tree image that I stamped and colored. This image is adorable, and I think it would make, or rather, it's one of those images that could go adorable or could go creepy. I think it would make a great scene if you're into Copic coloring or colored pencils and have more time than I did. On the inside of my card base, I have a piece of 4 by 5¼ inch white cardstock that I put down. And now I'm using that stamp and Distress Oxide ink in old paper to stamp the same image that's on the front. Now, old paper is green. I thought I was reaching for antique linen, so I would change that. But it's not a big deal because it's on the inside and, it's going away. Card number 7 is creepy. This is the card I was thinking of. I have some brushed corduroy distress ink, and I've gone around all of the edges of this paper that I think could sort of look like wallpaper. I've stamped in white heat embossed, "Have a happy Halloween full of frightful fun." And I am just drying that off, cleaning everything off. Now I'm going to come in with my blade and I'm going to cut slits in this. I'm going to distress those slits very generously with my finger so that I can slip these plastic spiders, which are quite bulky, through the slits. I am going to have 3 spiders crawling out of this wallpaper, which is super creepy, and I would die if it happened in real life. Actually, I wouldn't, but I would be very scared, and I would run away. Unless someone else was being scared, in which case I could be brave. Isn't it weird how, sometimes you can't be brave by yourself, but if everyone else is freaking out, you can be brave? I think it's weird, but interesting. For all of these, I really worked very aggressively to curl the paper but not rip the paper. I wanted it to really look distressed and sort of like the spider had sort of burst from the paper. I'm going to come in with my distress ink and go over the back of the paper and where the paper has those curls to make sure there's no white paper. The back of all of this paper was white and I didn't want that showing. I'm also going to add 2 layers of foam tape around this paper to make sure that the bodies of the spiders aren't sticking up through the paper. These spiders are clips that I think are really meant to go with the polyester cobwebs. So I used my Tim Holtz scissors to cut off the clips so they were a little bit less bulky. Here I'm coming in with the foam tape. I added that. I put it onto my black card base, and now I'm sort of shimmying my spiders in. I'm making sure they have different number of legs out and they're put at different angles. I try and use my multimedia mat, which is clogged. So I'm going to pull out my glossy accents and use glossy accents to glue those spiders down and make sure they do not move anywhere. I think this would be a great card design to use if you're making cards for people who like creepy. I certainly think it's creepy. And certainly from first glance, they look like real spiders. It's only when you look closely or look for an extended period of time that it's clear that they are fake. Okay, at this point, I knew that I really wanted to use more of the stamped and colored images. So card number 8 is a very simple card that uses that adorable little dog that's also a mummy. I've cut out a vellum circle and I'm gluing that down to my piece of paper that has a bunch of different trick-or-treaters on it. I'm using foam tape to put down my image that I stamped and colored, and also my sentiment, which is on that orange paper. I cut it into a banner and it says, "You're so awesome, it's mummifificent." I'm also gluing down some of the boo letters from one of the ghost die cuts. I did that partially because, well, it's Halloween and you say boo when you peek out from behind things. And partially so that I had more going on in the card. I felt it was a little empty with that background. I also added glossy accents to the boo. And one of the things that I didn't notice until now is I put it onto the card base upside down. Card number 9 is a cute little card. I like the idea, but I think it has too many ideas, if that makes sense. So I cut out all along that piece of paper that has the speech bubbles, and I popped that up with foam tape. I stamped in white heat embossed on the skeleton paper. I feel it in my bones. It's going tibia, great Halloween. I backed that onto the purple card bait, on the purple cardstock, and now I'm going to glue down 2 of the skeletons, the one that's orange and the one that's green. I'm going to chop off part of the purple skeleton and pop him up with foam tape so that he ends up being at the same level as my sentiment, which is also popped up with foam tape. I think these skeletons are super adorable, and it was one of the big selling points for the stamp set for me, along with the, it's going tibia, great Halloween, and let's get this Halloween party started. Okay, I am going to come in with some aqua shimmer pen and add that to the bow ties and to the ribbons on the hats. I'm also going to come in with some Nuvo drops in the black ivory, I think it's called, the black color, to add dots all around. I felt like the background was too plain with just the ivory cardstock, but I didn't want to add in glossy accents because it would have simply added texture and shine. I felt like it needed more color. Okay, card number 10 is a very simple card that has the most adorable little cat. You can see that I'm backing all of my pieces of paper on white cardstock, so they have between 1/4 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch white border around the edge. I did this because I stamped and colored my image on white paper. I didn't want to go around the edges with a cream marker because I knew it was going to be the wrong color, and I didn't want to go over the whole image with a cream marker because it was going to change the image, possibly cause bleeding, and I didn't want that. So I've put down this piece of the cream cardstock with the black dots. I'm going to add that border. It's a strip of the black paper with sort of bats, but not the glittery bats. I'm going to trim off my excess, and I'm going to end up adding glossy accents to all of those dots. I'm using VersaFine ink to stamp "Let's Get This Meowloween Party Started." I'm going to glue down my little cat in the cauldron, and it's going to look really empty. So I'm going to add some things to this circle. I am going to end up adding a few pieces of candy, which I will show you gluing down. I'm also going to add a bat, which I don't show you because I decided later to do that. This whole circle gets popped up with foam tape. There you can see that I'm using the glossy accents to add all of the dots. And because the glossy accents is out, I'm going to use glossy accents to add this foam circle to the front of my card. I'm also going to add glossy accents to each of the pieces of candy so they have more texture and they look a little bit more like the shiny candy that you think of. Now, it might be a mystery to you, but I really love cats. So the fact that this stamp set had a cat was super awesome to me. And I adore black cats. I love all cats, but I always seem to be adopted by or adopts black cats. So I have my cat colored 2 different shades of gray. I have my black part and then I have my gray part. So I can sort of pretend it's a black cat, but because of how the drawing was done, it's very clear that it's a spotty cat. So I felt I couldn't just color it one color. There I'm adding down those little shapes, and here is my final card. Okay, card number 10, or we're on to gift bags. I made in total 24 gift bags. This is what came in the American Craft Halloween gift bag set. So these are gift bags that I made using the plastic bags that came in the kit. I filled them with candy corn, candy pumpkins, chocolate eyeballs, and chocolate peanut butter cups. Here I'm using the Tim Holtz mini attacher, which I had never used before, to attach these toppers to my bags. Now, what I discover when I do the second one is that each of these toppers happens to have tape already on it. So I didn't need to staple them. I could have simply taped them. But then I decide I'm not sure how strong the adhesive is, so I'll still staple them. Plus, I think a staple is easier to remove than adhesive. For all of the sentiments that came in this and all of the images, I do use score tape or foam dots. I chose to use those, like here I'm using a foam dot that came in the kit, because I wanted to make sure they stay put, and I was afraid that if I used any sort of glue, I would bump them and I would shift where the image was or possibly have it fall down. So I produced these very quickly. I didn't do a lot of thinking about them. It was sort of like, okay, this looks good together, this looks good together, it goes together. One of the things that I wish this kit came with was more of the little ephemera pieces. And by kit, I mean the American Craft Halloween treat bag set, because I put 1 sentiment and 1 image on each of them, and I ran out of sentiments and images pretty quickly, but I still had lots of topper. I still had 6 toppers, and I still had 12 toppers and 12 bags. No, 6, sorry. The American Craft came with 12 bags, and the Doris paper bags, there were 12 of those, so I made 24 gift bags in total. Because I ran out of those little ephemera pieces and sentiments, I pulled out some stickers that I purchased a few years ago on clearance after Halloween. You can see that I'm using them right now. So they have a sentiment and they have little images as circles or squares. And on the other side, there are some stickers that are left over from a previous Halloween. These are probably left over from soon after I first started card making, because Halloween was when I first started card making and I first made cards to give to people. And I loved it. And now it's been a few years later and I'm still working at it. Go figure. How crazy. In most cases, but not all cases, I only put things on one side. You can see there I put something on the other side. That was partially to try and use up what I had. There I'm seeing if anything else will fit and I want to use anything else. Okay, we are going to make the other gift bags. These use the Doris paper bags, and I am going to make some toppers using the Hero Arts Tag Frames Infinity dies. I've cut out a bunch of pieces of paper. I cut out all of the paper that was of size into the shape. I used my score buddy to score down the middle. I creased it with my bone folder, and I'm simply, there's the candy that's in it. I don't know why I show you that image. It was a mummy. It was cut out of a piece of paper for the mummy card that I'll show you later. I'm stapling it, and then I'm simply going to staple whatever my topper is. I'm going to possibly add string and a tag. I'm going to add ephemera. I'm going to add lots of puffy stickers to things. At this point, I was really trying to create something that was cute, but also use up as much as I could. It's taken me a while because I decided that I wanted to use that orange and black string, which is sort of ribbon that frays, and it's not really ribbon. I'm attaching it. I put it on a tag, and then I attached it using the mini attacher. Now I'm coming in with a bunch of the little puffy stickers to decorate it. When I was finished with this kit, I only had a few pieces of paper, about 4 puffy stickers, and some ephemera. So I feel like I really, quote unquote, killed this kit. I used most of it up, and I'm very happy with what I produced. I'm sure I could have produced more if I had hoarded my resources or used things more carefully, but I'm happy with what I got. Here I'm using a corner chomper on this piece of paper to chomp the corners. This has the bats that are sort of glittery, and I'm going to use that tag that I cut out and tied a bow on as sort of my sentiment. Each gift bag is unique because the ephemera is 1 piece each, because all of the pieces that go together is sort of 1 piece each, and that's my black cat's tail. There happens to be a group of birds that really like sitting outside my window, and my cat really likes watching them. He also likes to run from one end of the apartment to the other to dive into the window to watch them, because he can. These are the leftovers. We have the stamp set, and we have the die set. We have the Nuvo glitter in Ivory Sands, glossy accents, about 6 spiders, a few googly eyes, the Bratties, 4 puffy stickers, a few pieces of paper, some cardstock. I really never use the green cardstock, some more scrap paper, some ephemera pieces, a bunch of ghosts that I cut out using the die. And here I'm going to show you all of the cards that I made using this kit, as well as the gift bags. Now for a few of the gift bags, I ran out of candy. So I made the gift bags, and I made sure I added extra score tape so I could fill them with candy at school. Because I'm a teacher, I keep a bag of candy as an emergency stash for myself, fellow teachers, and the occasional student who needs it. Because you know what? Sometimes your blood sugar is low, sometimes you need to pick me up, and sometimes you just need something extra or to celebrate. So I'll fill those up at school and give them to some of my coworkers. These cards are all unique. That one I used my ghost cutout as a stencil, but first I tried putting glossy accents down and it leaked. So then I tried wiping it up. Of course, some is left. I put down some Nuvo glimmer paste in black, and then I put the inside parts down for the boo. Those are my scrap paper cards. So I had scraps left over. I cut them into strips. I put them down onto adhesive backed paper. And in some cases, I left a gap between those pieces of paper so that I could put down the pure sheen glitter from Nuvo. I like that it adds sort of a texture and a different color to it. But I didn't use a lot of glitter in this. So these are the cards that I made, and these are the gift bags. There are 4 gift bags that do not have any candy in them. The rest all have candy. One happens to have greasy candy. It was candy that I know a specific person really likes. So even though I wrote down their name on the corner of the bag, I now know that it is their bag of candy for them, although it doesn't look very nice. And here are all of the little plastic bags. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you were inspired. If you got this card kit, I encourage you to use it because it is adorable and it's super fun and easy to use. You can definitely get a lot of mileage out of it. If you didn't, I hope that you were inspired by the cards that you see. Those are images that I colored. You can see that the Copic marker colors are written in sort of an aqua color, and the Spectrum Noir marker colors are written in the other colors of pen. Now, I have another question for you. What do you prefer? Do you prefer one longer video? This was a really long video that was really too long. Or do you prefer shorter videos? Do you like videos that have 5 cards one day and then another day 5 more cards? Or do you prefer to watch it all at once? I know that when I'm watching a video, I like to watch it all at once, but that's me. And certainly some of these cards were way more complicated than they needed to be. I could have gone much simpler. I always think it's fun to see when someone goes out of their way and puts extra effort in, because some of those simple cards are very simple and they're natural to make, like the ghost with the googly eyes. But some cards aren't as simple. You might not think of them. You might think of a technique but not know how to use it. What are your personal opinions? Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you were inspired. That's my mummy card. That was a series of disasters, but it turned out pretty cute. I really like the idea of using the polyester spider webs as wraps for my mummy. I have a bunch more images that I'd stamped and colored, and I will definitely add those to cards in the future because they are stamped, colored, and cut out, and they're super adorable. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you were inspired. I hope that you have a great day, and I hope that you have a happy Halloween and a great November. Thank you. Bye.